What's up, everybody? Today I am going to just show you the cards I got at the Front Row Card Store and show at the Rio that just took place this weekend in Las Vegas. I guess it's kind of like a preamble to Magic Con. I think a lot of people that are vending there are sticking around to stay at, and experience Magic Con too. So it was a really cool experience. They had like at least two or three, I'd say, Magic vendors there. And they had like an as wide array of like singles. It was like amazing. It was kind of like going to like your LGS and just like having like free pickings of like unpicked cards. Like I just had like a free reign of just basically looking at a variety of priced out singles and just picking exactly what I wanted. So it was really a good experience. My friend invited me. I'm pretty sure it's called the Front Row Card Store, but it did take place at the Rio. It was $15 admission, and they had a lot of Pokemon there. They had baseball cards, sports cards, and wrestling cards. They have Magic. Overall, a really good experience. But it was so funny, like, because I heard so many people talking about this card in particular, Omnath the Locus of All. And it was I think at both vending sites, like people had mentioned this card, like Omnath, and like not the 4-colored Omnath, the 5-colored Omnath. And I was like, yo, that's like one of my favorite commanders. That was like probably one of my more popular videos on YouTube was doing the 5-color Omnath Mutate Landfall deck. So it was amazing. And it just so happened they had this really sweet alternate art there in one of the binders. And I was like, zink, that's mine. So it was just really cool. Like, it was just very interesting. Like, well, yeah, there's that Omnath, but what about the 5-color one? Yeah, it's the one that, like, adds mana and you can keep the mana as steps and phases end. And I was like, yeah, that's the killer one, right? They're both very good, of course. But 5-color Omnath is cool, right? Yeah, it's a very cool card. So I got this one. Let's just go over the other cards that I picked up while I was there. So I got a Casualties of War. What a nasty. Man, if you really want to ruin your friend's day in your pod, it's like just play a Casualties of War on them and just make their life miserable. Choose one or more. Destroy target artifact, destroy target creature, destroy target enchantment, destroy target land, destroy target planeswalker. Oh my god, you can just like hit. It doesn't even have to be like a particular player. You just spread the love out. Jeez, guys. What a nasty card. This is obviously is going to go into my Omnath deck. It just meets that 4-pip, 3-pip requirement. It actually has 4, so that's fantastic. So Casualties is definitely slotting in. We're going to get a little busy with that card. I also picked up a case of Hot House, another great landfall card, just a reality type chip effect. We love those in Landfall, especially if you're like in the Sultai colors, like Reality Chip, Bola Citadel, Case of the Hot House. Anything that like kind of lets you play off lands off the top of your deck. In this case, you play lands, enchantments, and creatures once you control 7 or more lands, and it also lets you just play an additional land each of your turn, like an exploration type effect. So I like that one. Very cool. Here's the Catapult Master. I love this card for any type of soldier deck, I suppose, but it's really good in my rel. And I just had to pick up another copy because I just really like the card. I really think it's fantastic, and I can't wait to show off the Myrel deck that I played at the LGS not too long ago. Someone alluded to it as like mono white control. It definitely played like that because this particular card in particular with Myrel, you basically like just get away of any like creature threats on the board like instantaneously because you just have an abundance of soldier tokens with Myrel and you can just basically take care of the threats as they come down, or you can catch up from like a turn or two ago and really start decimating the boards and really having like kind of a control-y type of effect where like basically creatures aren't hitting the battlefield or they're hitting the battlefield but they're not staying for very long, and it's exile too, so it's very good. Love that card. I also picked up a Jeskai Ascendancy, and I was like, man, why haven't I like played more of this in my Aragorn type of deck? Like this just sets off Aragorn, and then also has that ability just to like untap creatures, basically playing a non-creature spell. This would like pose like a win condition to me. For instance, if I had like a Sylvala or Like there's bloom tenders and all those kind of mana dorks that like have so much, they create such an abundance of mana. If you have like a Jeskai Ascendancy and you're like just kind of storming off, you're just like accruing mana. I just feel like this is just a mega, kind of a mega card for me. Also feels up like your Mizzet's Masteries and such. So maybe I'll go back to Aragorn and really kind of focus in on the mana dorks and, what kind of deck do I want to do? I don't know. I'm not really sure, but for me, I think Aragorn is mostly casual, high powered, high powered stuff. I don't know. I mean, you could probably, get a little more spicy if you really wanted to kind of accelerate into a faster Aragorn. And I think they like the food chain combos. But yeah, this is just a sweet card, obviously. So now, primarily, like I picked up a ton of cards for my Maria deck that I'm putting together that will be competitive, and it will be stacks orientated. So I did research stacks a little bit. I did find out the origin of stacks, and basically it was like the $4,000 solution, and this was the primary card that it was built upon. I believe this is the S in stacks, or maybe perhaps even the stacks itself, but STAX. And what it was basically building to do is just to combat the, I believe probably the fast nature of the deck styles back then, and basically to choke out resources, right? So that was the emphasis on stacks. Winter Orb obviously is kind of your penultimate card that you kind of see a lot of that. Static Orb, of course, does that as well. There's many different forms of stacks. This in particular one has the ability for you to put in your upkeep a counter on it, and then at the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player sacrifices a permanent for each suited counter on Smokestack. I feel it's probably pretty appropriate just to play every single stacks piece that is relevant to me and that I find and discover into the Maria deck, and to kind of really explore the stacks to its fullest extent and not be afraid of the outcome, just to like kind of write it out. So my my reasoning for this is that you can imagine, like, I don't know, just imagine when you were younger, right? And maybe you picked up like a pre-constructed Magic theme deck, for instance. I don't know about you, but there was one, I think it had like a Razorback theme. There was some sort of creature, I think it was Rakdos, maybe even Jund, like some sort of precon. And I was like, this deck was absolutely smoking. I would just goldfish that in like my grandparents' house in the summers. And I was like, this plays better than any other deck I've ever experienced. Probably it was just like an entry level deck. But for me, the synergy was just like, wow, all these cards work together so well. And I figure that's kind of like how I want to approach the Maria deck. I really just want to get all the stacks pieces that I can kind of physically and capably fit in and see where it goes, because Maria loves artifacts. And if we can put all the stacks pieces in there, I feel like she's going to really thrive. And I feel like it can be competitive. I really do. I feel like you can set up a position on your table where you can basically have your opponents doing less of things, and then of course you having maximum options during your turns, because you'll be able to manipulate those artifacts and basically tap them in certain types and times of your opponent's turns, and then basically untap everything that you own and not be affected by them. So, I mean, it's also about your longevity too. And I feel like that's where Maria sits. She's just the very longevity. And I think people are realizing that. And it's nice to see, because I see it even on the Discord, on the CGB Discord. People just know Maria is the bomb. And I even like kind of looked at some Reddits back in the day, like, is there any viable Gruul competitive commanders? And people would probably say it's Maria. So, and there's Smokestack, just because of her ability to manipulate the stacks pieces, right? Here's Defense Grid. This card is an absolute bomb. It's basically just like a Myrel on an artifact. It's going to make it so hard for your opponents to interact with you during your turn. It's just a nasty card. Imagine this with a God Pharaoh's Gift or God Pharaoh's statue on the battlefield, and then your opponents basically have to pay 5 as like a ward cost just to interact on your turn. It's just like a really nasty effect. So That'll definitely be enough. These are just cards I picked up at the Front Row Card Store. It's fantastic, guys, their show. I also picked up this top from a vendor. So very nice people there. I got to trade some of my older foils that they were interested, and then they had some just really sweet cards in general. And this one caught my eye immediately, and I'm like, well, I got to get that card. There's no doubt about it. I need to have a couple of these available, for some of my more my stronger decks. And I do have a lot of Maria decks, so it's just like kind of a no-brainer just to pick up another Divining Top, which is definitely an integral piece to our kind of Aetherflux reservoir kind of win condition. Additionally, in our breach lines, Sensei can help us kind of get there, kind of manipulate that top of our library, keep our gas going, keep the mana flowing, and really just kind of set us up for success. So, yeah, we love Sensei's Divining Top. Just a really nice card that you can basically reduce its price to 0. And with an enabler like Mystic Forge or Experimental Frenzy, you can play this off the top of your deck infinite number of times. Especially does well, of course, with your Aetherflux reservoirs, and that will set up you for a winning position. So we love that. There's the Sensei's Divining Top. The dogs are saying it's a good one. Dad, you're doing so good. 200 subscribers. It's coming, guys. I think we're gonna hit 300 soon. I just have this feeling. But we will be giving away some things, some cards, for instance. I think I had mentioned I have, like, for instance, like these sweet Gruul lands here, for instance. But these are just some from my collection. But I believe if you had commented on a prior video, I think it was one of my Dustmorn collector booster box openings. And I believe there was another like Maria video that I did. I feel like I think I just mentioned if you comment on them, then I'd send you some sweet cards. So that was the deal. So yeah, we're almost there. I think it's like 4 subscribers away. So that's great. Dragon Rage Channeler also goes into the Maria deck because it's very good with cards, especially for like Mishra's Bauble, because we're going to be building up our graveyard and deriving value from our graveyard with those very powerful cards like Goblin Welder. Goblin Engineers are so amazing just to entomb like any artifact from your library into your graveyard at will is just so powerful. And there's another variety, Trash for Treasure, Duretti, the Planeswalker, and Scrap Savant, and Scrap Mastery. So it's just an abundance of really nice artifact synergy and just ways to get value from it is just fantastic. So Dragon Rage Channeler does that. For instance, like a Mishra's Bauble onto a Dragon Rage Channeler, and you're just starting to surveil a bunch of things into your graveyard. You can have a nice selection too. This was just a nice pickup. It's from the new sets, from the mystery boosters. I just thought it's such a clean look. It's a beautiful card. The white border looks really good here, guys. It's just a nice, clean, updated look on the white border. Really, really beautiful stuff. So I love it. Also picked up a red Elemental Blast, likely to pair along with Pyroblasts in the competitive deck. So that's just a nasty card where you can just basically target those really nice blue permanents, creature permanents on the battlefield, or counter the blue spells themselves. So what a nasty red card that is. Here's that Noxious Revival, just to kind of get anything back into our top of our library from our graveyard. It's this massive tutoring selection. It basically just costs some life. And then we can just basically just pick it up with our Maria, just tap some artifacts down, and then boom, we have that same card back. And it's just like, whoa, it's a lot of value. We picked up a beautiful Howling Mine, just foil there, just another amazing pickup from this place. Just had a really good time at that store. I was there for a couple hours just sifting through binders. So many singles available. It was just like a single overload. It was awesome. Picked up some nice little treatments for my Marchesa deck, Dealer of Death. So this is going to be for that nice Grixis colors. We've got some really nice removal here. Karvek because of the crime synergy. It's going to be fantastic. I thought the Gray Merchant could be good in general. Even in a Marchesa deck, but they just had these there, and obviously a very popular card, a very good card too. So, I am having like a Reanimator theme, and I think the deck plays mostly black permanents, even like a Karvek has 2 black pips. So I'm not like totally opposed to like playing a Gray Merchant in my Marchesa Dealer of Death deck, even though it doesn't commit any crimes. Mostly just because of the idea of like using a Coin Lane Rebirth on this thing too. And like having two Gray Merchants come on the battlefield at once seems really good to me. So here's Malika Rebirth, just another sweet uncommon that was just kind of sitting there, just ready for me to take. Ah, baby. This is it, guys. The Archon of Cruelty. So great. So fantastic. What a bomb. And it's so, I think it's like $7 or $8. I think maybe the price is down, right? Was this more of an expensive card at one time? I feel like it should be. I mean, this thing just is a great reanimator target. It's going to give us some gas. It's going to make our opponents lose a life, sacrifice a creature, and enters or attacks. It's just a big beast, a 6/6 flyer. What a nasty card. So I'm very excited about this. It commits crimes too, so we love that. Here's Victimize. Of course, this will go into our Marchesa Dealer of Death deck. Nice little borderless treatment. Very good here. Dance of the Dead, also a very good reanimator target. Can target any card in the graveyard, so it can commit crimes as well. So this is just some real nice stuff for my Marchesa deck. And then I didn't forget about Arwen. I feel like that's probably one of my stronger decks, but I just, don't really like use it very often. So I don't even know if I played it in LGS. I mean, I played it a lot on Arena, but Selesnya colors are so good, and this card is just crazy. So this is actually the first copy of Aura Shards that I owned. So I got it for like $8. It's a list copy, so what a sweet deal I got. And that's fantastic. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may destroy target, artifact, or enchantment. Whoa. Whoa, bro. That's a lot of value. Here's the Choir Master, another amazing Arwen card. Thanks for the person that shouted this out earlier in the year. On the comments, you're awesome. This card is obviously crazy and busted with Arwen. The more proliferates we can get, the better. This thing is just a nasty flyer too. I don't foresee Arwen getting removed very often, but I do see Arwen attacking often. So we're definitely going to be proliferating, and we're going to be having a good time with the Choir Master, no doubt. Here's the Supreme Verdict. So this is for my Yorion pile. Yorion is coming up. I have kind of a couple decks on queue. First, we're going to do the Maria kind of stacks one. That's going to be juice. That's going to have proxies. That's going to have a good amount of proxies for, like, for instance, the Lion's Eye and Mox Diamond and Chrome Mox. Otherwise, most of the cards will be legit, but it's just those. Oh, I can put in a Guy's Cradle too. Yeah. A lot of them will be proxied because I don't have $700 for a card lying around, unfortunately. But maybe one day. But until then, that will be the next focus. It's going to be on the more high-powered side, and it will be devastating. It'll be very, it could basically choke opponents out, like, turn one. That would be the ideal with, like, the fast mana and those fast mana lines, and playing cards like Wheel of Fortune, basically kind of storm off. So that will be an interesting one to kind of look at. And then, of course, we can circle back to Yorion and Marchesa. So we just obviously picked up a Supreme Verdict, just a fantastic Azorius card. Dance of the Manse. This is just a nice little longevity in there. If we play the artifact and enchantment theme for Yorion, that will be definitely a great interaction where we're bringing things back from the graveyard because we're filling it up. Additionally, the Oculus is a new fantastic card from Dread Duskmourn. And that card manifests you saw the CGB video on that not too long ago. That was a good line that he took. Definitely kept with the artifact theme. However, went into like kind of the manifest mechanic and how you can basically flip over the manifest card by blinking it. That would be like a Yorion type effect. Brago does that as well. And basically flipping it over into the card that it is. And that's an amazing kind of synergy. And you can get so much value from those manifest cards. Like the Oculus thing is just pumping out manifest tokens. Then all of a sudden you're flipping them over and they're, omniscience or whatever. You know what the thing is though? I think I would like to look at that a little bit more. Like if you flip over the card for the blinking, I wonder if you could flip it over even if it's not a creature card. So that's kind of what I'm wondering. So I'd have to probably rewatch the video to see kind of how it works with cards that are just not creatures. Because I think for the manifest, you can pay into them to flip them over. But I'm curious if it's for instance, an omniscience that, you could blink it and it would flip back over. Because that'd be really incredible. So there's that. And so there's there's probably more work to be done. Let's just say that if there's a lot of good manifest payoffs, I might have to kind of revisit that and that deck in general and kind of make some adjustments here and there. Here's Static Prison. This is just an amazing Yorion card. You don't really need too much of the even energy synergy because you're just going to be re-blinking this thing and accruing the energy from itself. It's really not a too big of a downside. I think I might play no, I really don't think I even play really too much energy at all other than this card in the Yorion pile, and I've had some success with it. I really haven't had to worry about losing it. You just basically play it, and then, the turn comes around and you just restart it. So, sweet card for 1 mana, to be honest. Just exile target non-land permanent. You get 2 energy counters. I was thinking about this for my Myriad deck too, for another cost reducer like Foundry Inspector, but I was just the rate's not the greatest. I mean, you think about a card like an Izzet card like Enthusiastic Mechanaut, it's the same card, literally. And it's going to reduce your artifacts by 1. So it's just well, I'm going to pay now 2 additional mana and have the same effect. It just doesn't feel good. It just doesn't feel the best, but it's in Japanese, so that's cool. Jeweled Amulet. This is another pickup that I was kind of considering from Maria. I think it's okay too. I mean, I don't think it's the worst. I don't think it's a terrible card. Maybe it's well enough to play. So maybe I'll just slot it in and see how it goes, because Maria does like zeros, and I don't think another 0 is going to hurt too bad. And it's good in the opener, right? You can kind of sink into this and kind of supercharge a Mary and, get her going a little earlier too. So that can't be too bad. So we'll think about it, but I also like zeros like Tormod's Crypt and stuff that actually can be tapped for mana and then also have a nice effect. Exiling the target opponent's graveyard. And then also from the store, from that same shop, a vendor had a bunch of just fetch lands. So I just picked them up, and it was just easy peasy stuff. I just got these sweet fetch lands, and that was the rest was history. So overall, just a really nice haul. So here we go. Just some nice pickups from the store. I mean, I spent there a couple hours and just was going through the cards and just chatting it up. It was great. Really good experience. So I'll definitely go back. Just nice Howling Mind for the deck. Kind of got a little bit of some swaggy treatments here for the deck, so it's always good. But I hope you're all having a great day. Like and subscribe from me. Send it out to the world. Let them know I'm here. And 200 subscribers. I think we're gonna get it. Cheers, everybody. Bye.